Y'all don't do this shit more than me. MX Simulator Burnout, and I ain't talking about squealing the tires, boys. Okay, so really wanted to come in here and talk about this because, you know, the boy out here, we got about, I don't know, 420,000 hours into this game, you know? So if anybody knows anything about a little bit of MX Sim Burnout, it's your boy, okay? So the crazy thing about MX Simulator is it's almost like you have to play this game a lot to even be able to play this game. Do you see what I'm saying? There's like this fine line between, you know, at least for me, it's like my fun factor, the amount of fun that I'm having in the game is directly correlated to how much I'm playing the game. But see, it's this tricky thing because it's like you got to play it a shitload to have fun on the game, but if you play it a shitload, then you're going to raise up the possibility of getting burnt out, so you're constantly doing this little trying not to get burnt out, but playing it enough to have fun with it where you can get around a track, you know? It's like this constant little thing that you're doing, and one big thing is if you're just getting into the game, you don't want to take any breaks when you're first getting into it. I would say you want to be pretty solid on this game for like the first 6 months at least before you ever even think about taking a break. You want to get yourself to a certain point where you can at least get around the Supercross tracks. You know, at least get to that point so that you don't start going backwards, you know. That's when it gets real crappy trying to play MX Sim, when it's like you can't even get around the track without crashing 1,000 times. You know, so you at least want to do that, like put a solid 6 months into the game, playing it damn near every day, you know, get yourself to a certain point, and then you can kind of take breaks here and there, but you just don't want to take too long of a break. You know, MX Sim's real tricky like that. With the longer and the longer of a break that you take, you're just losing skill. I mean, you're just, and then it gets more difficult. Then it's harder to have fun when you get in there and race with your buddies on a random online server. You know, it kind of snowballs a little bit. So, but for me personally, like, you just got to understand with MX Simulator that you're eventually going to get burned out. There's no way around it, okay? The game is meant to be a major grind. That's exactly what it is. I mean, even if you think about real life motocross, a lot of people may not look at it like a super hardcore grind, but they're also not going pro level speed in real life, and they're not riding on pro level supercross tracks in real life like you would be trying to do on MX Sim, right? Like if you're just going on some local easy tracks on MX Simulator, yeah, you could probably get around them without playing the game very much. You probably could, but if you want to actually get on there on the bigger online servers and stuff that are on the newest supercross tracks, you're going to have to dedicate some time. You're going to have to work on that suspension. You're going to have to work on that stability. You're going to have to get in there and mess with it. But I'm telling you, from somebody that's done it, the real fun factor and reward of MX Simulator is when you've just grinded it and grinded it and grinded it and thought, baby, grind on me. Then when you've just played it and played it and played it and played it, fingers bleeding, you know, you just played Spency Boy hitting his keyboard out here. Oh, man. But then you finally get to a point where you're half a second faster, or you can get on a random online server and lap everybody, you know, that's when the real, it's all like the reward system of MX Simulator is built into it. So it's not like you're unlocking things or you're, you know, getting some DLC or something. It's the reward of it is, okay, I can go this fast on a track now, or, you know, I can hit that quad jump that I never thought was possible. But see, the problem is a lot of guys give up on MX Simulator right before they start making the real progress. I've noticed that as well. It's like the pot of gold at the very end of the rainbow. It's way out there, dog. Like, it's so far out there you can't even see it. type shit with MX Simulator. It's like the reward system of MX Simulator, it gets drizzled out to you in a very slow kind of rate because it's so hard to even start to get around a corner without falling down, or start to hit a double out of a corner without falling down. And then every little stage of like getting better at the game, it's a slow thing, so it's not going to be these quick reward systems like you would get on an arcade dirt bike game, or even MX bikes to a certain extent. Like, you can get to cornering pretty easy in that game. You can at least start getting around a track, fairly easily. Obviously not as easy as an arcade dirt bike game, but still, MX Sim, it's like, that pot of gold, aka that feel-good reward system of the game. It takes a long time before you ever really see it, But once you can see it, once you can start getting there, then it's the best kind of feeling in motocross gaming, period. It's the best kind of, satisfaction in a dirt bike game that you'll ever get, but it takes the longest to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you want to climb Mount Everest and get that fucking enjoyment of getting to the top of that? Or do you want to come over here and climb some other mountain that nobody gives a shit about, and you can probably get to the top quicker, but, it'll feel good making it to the top, but you didn't climb Mount Everest. You see what I'm saying? That's exactly what MX Simulator is right there. But another big way to avoid burnout on MX Simulator, playing with buddies and making gear and all that really does add to the game. I mean, if I didn't have a team in the game, I probably wouldn't play the game as much as I do nowadays. And if I wasn't getting on there on the random online servers back in 14, 15, I was on there every night racing with random people. It was just that was like a skill-based ladder, almost like a ranked mode in a sense for me. It was just seeing, could I beat these guys in a server? And then eventually somebody would get in the server that could beat me, and then I would try to figure out how to beat that guy, and then finally beat that guy, and then another guy would figure out how to beat me, and then I figure out how to beat that guy. It was like that endless, progression in the game. And then every year in the game, there's a whole nother set of tracks, and the way they're designing the tracks and the way you'd set your bike up for those kind of tracks. So you see how it's like a never-ending sort of skill-based cycle, okay? But you've just got to know that, MX Simulator's meant to be difficult. That's the point, okay? You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna get mad. You're gonna be like, fuck this game. Can't tell you how many times I've heard dudes say that while they're playing the game, but, it's gonna frustrate you. It's gonna be really difficult. You're gonna hit many, many, many different walls along the journey of learning the game. And it's gonna, you're gonna think you've figured the game out, or you think you know everything that MX Simulator is all about, but then you realize you really didn't know it, and you do that like 5 or 10 different times. You see what I'm saying? So, and that also comes with the, not only just getting faster in the game, but the better and the better you get, and the better you can figure out how to set your bike up for yourself, the better and the better the gameplay gets. It actually becomes a better game. That's what makes it real different, like, than a arcade dirt bike game, for instance. You're only going to be able to do so much with the bike in an arcade dirt bike game to change the actual physics or the gameplay. You know what I mean? But with MX Simulator, it's dramatic. Like, your rider mass distribution, for instance, is going to totally change the quote-unquote physics feeling of the game. Your stability is going to totally change the physics feeling of the game. Your suspension is still suspension, but try to find some buddies to play with. Try to find some dudes to race against. Try to actually progress yourself in the game. Try to actually do something in the game versus just randomly playing the game like it's an arcade dirt bike game. You see what I'm saying? MX Simulator is not an arcade dirt bike game, and it shouldn't be played as an arcade dirt bike game. It shouldn't be thought of as an arcade dirt bike. Like, all the things that of like when you're playing a game like Reflex or something, you kind of got to rewire your brain a little bit to play something like MX Simulator, because it's just a different animal. It's not the same kind of thing, you know. Reflex is really good in its own way, but it's not the same kind of thing at all. I think that's where a lot of guys get twisted up, you know. They'll start putting like what the kind of time it would take to get really good at a game like Reflex or become a pro on Reflex. They'll start putting that kind of time into a game like MX Simulator and expecting some crazy results, and when they don't get it, they're all confused and think the game sucks, and, you know, then they stop playing the game. It's like, bro, no, put about 10 times that amount of time in, then you'll start to see. Then you'll start to understand what MX Sim's all about, bro. So, either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I'll see you boys on that next one. Later, big dogs. Ho, ho.